Welcome to a place between thought and dreaming, where science floats gently on the winds of sleep. Tonight, we'll drift through 100 quiet truths about sleep cycles, the mysterious patterns that shape our nights. Across the landscape of biology and time, from ancient sea creatures in prehistoric oceans to astronauts dozing in zero gravity, sleep has always whispered its secrets. Did you know that the average person will spend about 26 years of their life asleep? That's more time than we spend eating, walking, or even speaking aloud. And each night, as darkness falls, our brains enter rhythmic patterns, cycling through waves and stages like tides pulled by a hidden moon. If you enjoy these gentle science journeys, I invite you to like and subscribe or share a favorite fact in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, there's nothing you need to do but rest. Settle in, breathe deeply, and let's begin. Fact 1. Sleep is not just one long stretch of unconsciousness, but a journey through cycles that repeat every 90 to 120 minutes. These cycles carry us gently through light sleep, deep sleep, and the vivid waters of REM, or rapid eye movement sleep. Like the moon rising and falling across a quiet night sky, we drift through these phases about 4 to 6 times each night. In stage 1, our heart beats slow, our muscles relax, and our thoughts begin to blur. This delicate crossing takes only a few minutes, like stepping onto a soft moving river, setting the tone for deeper currents to come. The brain lowers its guard, yet remains alert enough to sense a whisper in the dark. It's the twilight threshold, neither fully awake nor fully asleep, where the boundary between worlds begins to thin. Fact 2. As we slip deeper into stage 2, our brains begin to send out bursts of rhythmic waves called sleep spindles. These gentle pulses, between 12 and 14 cycles per second, surge like shimmer on quiet water, believed to help protect our dreams from noise and disruption. Alongside them, K-complexes appear single, large waves that flicker through the cortex like soft lightning in a sky thick with clouds. Brain temperature drops, eye movements cease, and the world outside fades further into the distance. In this stage, we spend nearly half of our night floating in a hush where memory begins to settle and daily worries dissolve into mist. It is in this vast middle ground that the body readies itself for deeper restoration, sinking farther into stillness while the mind continues its quiet watch. Fact 3. As the night deepens, we enter stage 3, often called slow wave sleep. This is the body's most profound silence, where brain waves move in slow, sweeping patterns, less than 4 cycles per second. Delta waves, vast and unhurried, wash over the mind like gentle tides on a moonlit shore. This is when the body truly repairs itself. Muscles are restored, tissues are rebuilt, and the immune system quietly refortifies its defenses. Growth hormone peaks during this phase, cascading through the bloodstream like a soft internal rainfall. It's the moment of sanctum, where consciousness loosens its grip and roots itself in the fertile soil of healing. In this cloister of stillness, time feels suspended, and the whisper of dream has not yet taken form. Fact 4. After the long descent into slumber's depths, the cycle begins to climb again, lifting us into the ethereal terrain of REM sleep. Named for the rapid darting of our eyes beneath closed lids, REM is a land of vivid dreams, where brain activity rises to levels near those of wakefulness. It usually begins about 90 minutes after we first fall asleep, and with each return during the night, REM phases grow longer, like waves building as the tide rolls in. The first may last just 10 minutes, but by dawn, some REM phases can stretch to nearly an hour. During REM, muscles become almost entirely paralyzed, a quiet safeguard, so we do not enact the stories playing behind our closed eyes. It is a time of heightened creativity and emotional sorting, when the fragments of memory are rewoven into meaning. In this floating theatre of the mind, logic softens and images bloom, carrying us through symbol and story, whispering secrets from our inner worlds. Fact 5. Sleep is not unique to humans, not even to mammals. Fruit flies, those tiny winged creatures flitting through our kitchens, have been shown to follow their own sleep cycles, complete with rest periods and signs of sleep debt. In 2000, researchers discovered that if a fruit fly is deprived of rest, it will later sleep longer to make up for lost time, just like we do. Zebrafish, too, demonstrate periods of reduced responsiveness and changes in brain activity that mirror our slow-wave sleep. Even jellyfish, which have no brains at all, pulse more slowly at night, suggesting a primitive sleep-like state. Sleep, then, is older than thought. It may have emerged over 600 to 100 million years ago in the ocean's shadowy depths, long before the first vertebrate ever dreamed. This ancient need for rest threads across the vast tapestry of life, connecting us to the rhythmic stillness of the underwater world and hinting at a universal pause written into biology's design. Fact 6. Sleep cycles are not fixed from birth but evolve as we grow, changing shape and rhythm like sand dunes shifting in the wind. Newborn infants, for instance, sleep in short bursts that cycle every 50 to 60 minutes, restless tides guided by hunger rather than the day's rhythm. They spend nearly half their time in REM, dreaming their way into consciousness, their brains laying down the early scaffolding of memory and perception. As children grow, their sleep deepens, consolidates and lengthens, with slow-wave sleep dominating the early nights and REM weaving itself later into dawn's hush. By adolescence, the body's internal clock begins to shift, delaying the natural urge for sleep, often leading to late nights and sleepy mornings. This gentle tug away from earlier rhythms reflects a biological transition, a rewiring of circadian pulses as the brain matures. And so, from cradle to adulthood, sleep cycles drift and bend, responding to age and need, each life stage shaped by its own architecture of rest. Fact 7. The architecture of sleep is also shaped by light, the primordial signal that sets our internal clocks. Deep within the brain, in a cluster of neurons called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, light's presence or absence whispers instructions to the body. This bundle, no larger than a grain of rice, receives messages from the eyes and orchestrates the release of melatonin, the hormone known as the darkness messenger. As sunlight fades, melatonin rises, guiding us gently toward rest. In parts of the world where nights stretch longer, like the polar regions, people often experience shifts in sleep timing and mood, a phenomenon known as seasonal affective disorder. Even the soft blue glow of a phone screen can confuse the brain, delaying the lullaby of hormones and stirring wakefulness beneath our lids. Yet when darkness wraps us full and unbroken, the body responds with ancient precision as it has for thousands of years, opening the gateway to slumber with quiet biological grace. Fact 8. Our need for sleep is choreographed by a circadian rhythm, an invisible clock ticking within every cell. This internal rhythm, which runs slightly longer than 24 hours in most people, is guided by the natural day-night cycle and helped along by hormones and temperature changes. But if we are placed in total darkness, with no sunrise or sunset to guide us, the body still keeps its own time. In 1962, a French cave explorer named Michel Siffre lived in isolation beneath the earth for 2 months. Without clocks or sunlight, his body settled into a sleep-wake rhythm of around 25 hours. This quiet drift of time shows that even in darkness, the body seeks pattern, seeking rest as surely as the tide seeks the shore. The circadian rhythm is like the pulse of a silent symphony, coordinating sleep, hunger, alertness, and even mood with a quiet, ancient beat that never stops playing. Fact 9. Temperature dips not only outside our windows at night, but within us as well, becoming a subtle signal that sleep is approaching. As evening falls, the core body temperature begins to lower by about 1 degree Fahrenheit, nudging the body towards stillness. This gentle cooling isn't random, it is directed by the brain's internal clock, helping to synchronize sleep onset. The hands and feet, by contrast, often grow warmer as blood vessels widen, radiating heat outward and easing the transition to sleep. Researchers have found that warming the feet can speed up sleep onset, as if unlocking a secret chamber door. In ancient Japan, people placed warm stones under bedding during winter to help fall asleep, a folk ritual now echoed in modern heated blankets and cozy socks. The body's nocturnal ebb in temperature echoes the cooling of the earth at dusk, tying our physiology to the natural cycles of the world, reminding us that rest is always in rhythm with the falling light and the quiet night air. Fact 10. Dreams, those fleeting tapestries spun in REM sleep, are not simply meanderings of the mind, but serve evolutionary and emotional purposes. Researchers believe we dream most vividly during REM because of heightened neural activity in the limbic system, the brain's emotional center. Studies suggest dreams help process complex feelings, offering us symbolic puzzles through which we rehearse fears or resolve hidden tensions. In 1983, the reverse learning hypothesis proposed that dreams filter out unnecessary information, a kind of nocturnal decluttering. And yet, even with all we've come to understand, dreams remain uncertain territory, abstract landscapes where memories bend and logic floats. Ancient civilizations saw them as messages from gods or glimpses of other realms, and perhaps it is this mystery that still clings to them. Behind our eyelids, 1,000 silent stories unfold each night, glimpses of a language only sleep knows how to speak. Fact 11. While dreams color the theaters of REM sleep, the body outside those scenes rarely stirs. This stillness, called REM atonia, is a protective quieting of the muscles, turning off motion while the mind roams free. Yet occasionally, this safeguard stutters and brief movements break through twitches of the fingers, soft murmurs, or the gentle curling of toes. In rare cases known as REM sleep behavior disorder, sleepers may act out their dreams, eyes closed, yet limbs moving. This condition fascinates researchers as it reveals the boundaries between dream and action, the thin curtain that, when lifted, brings the inner world to the edge of waking. Sleep, it seems, holds carefully drawn lines between thought and motion, lines that pulse with emotion and story yet preserve the body's stillness, like stars reflected on a placid lake, undisturbed by the skies they mirror. Fact 12. Naps, though short and often overlooked, follow their own miniature cycles, containing fragments of the same sleep architecture found in a full night's rest. A brief nap of 10 to 20 minutes can offer a burst of clarity and energy, while longer naps, stretching past 30 minutes, may lead the brain into deeper waves, inviting grogginess upon waking. Yet naps are ancient tools of renewal. In ancient Rome, the daily meridiare was a sacred midday rest. In modern times, siestas still echo through cultures adapted to warmer climates, where the afternoon sun slows life's tempo. NASA even recommends scheduled naps for astronauts and pilots, finding they increase performance and alertness by up to 34%. To nap, then, is no lazy indulgence, but a return to rhythm, a brief descent into the undercurrent that refreshes the mind and resets the hour. Like leaves resting briefly on still water before continuing downstream, naps remind us that restoration need not always come cloaked in night. It can arrive quietly, in the golden hush of day. Fact 13. Sleepwalkers move through the world in silence, eyes open but minds elsewhere, drifting across a veil of semi-consciousness. This curious phenomenon, known as somnambulism, often arises during the deepest stages of non-REM sleep, when the mind is far from dreams and closer to the raw machinery of bodily rest. In this state, the brain's motor systems awaken while cognitive functions slumber on, allowing the body to navigate rooms, open doors, even climb stairs, all without conscious awareness. Most sleepwalkers recall nothing of their nighttime journeys, their movements guided by rhythms older than thought. Children are more likely to sleepwalk than adults, and many outgrow it as the architecture of sleep matures. Though the sight of a sleepwalker may seem ghostly, science sees it as a rare crossing where the boundary between stillness and motion dissolves, and unconsciousness briefly wears the shape of wakefulness, like moonlight casting shadows where no light should fall. Fact 14. In the silence of deep sleep, the brain is not idle, but active in housekeeping, clearing waste in a process scientists have only recently begun to unravel. In 2012, researchers identified what they now call the glymphatic system, a cleansing network that becomes especially active during sleep. Like a nighttime janitor, it flushes away metabolic debris, including beta-amyloid plaques linked to Alzheimer's disease. Operating primarily during slow-wave sleep, this system uses cerebrospinal fluid to wash between brain cells, a gentle rinse that helps keep cognition sharp and healthy. During wakefulness, the brain's cells swell, making it harder for this fluid to move freely. But in sleep, the cells shrink slightly, opening space for flow. It's as though the brain, in its resting state, draws a velvet curtain and begins to softly dust the chambers of memory and thought. Every hour of sleep, then, is not only restoration, it is quiet, renewal, maintenance, and care by a hidden hand that works best when we are unaware. Fact 15. The boundaries of our sleep are deeply intertwined with mythology and cultural lore, casting slumber as both a necessity and a mystery. In ancient Egypt, the god of sleep, Sekher, was linked not only to dreams but also to the underworld, suggesting that sleep was a nightly voyage into shadow realms. The Greeks believed that Hypnos, the gentle god of sleep, was the twin of Thanatos, death itself, twins, resting side by side in a cave where night bloomed eternal. In faraway Japan, the Baku, a mythical creature with traits of elephants and tigers, was said to eat bad dreams, protecting sleepers from nightly terrors. Across human history, from lullabies whispered beside hearth fires to rituals performed beneath pale moons, sleep has held more meaning than mere rest. It has been a portal, a healer, and a mirror, reflecting the quiet fears and hopes of those who surrender to its embrace. These stories remind us that sleep, while deeply biological, is also steeped in the rich poetry of the human imagination, where science and mystery curl together beneath the night. Fact 16. Beneath the surface of restful sleep, tiny shifts in brain rhythm continue weaving their nightly pattern, even responding to sound in subtle ways. Studies have shown that the sleeping brain does not entirely shut out the world. It listens, faintly, as if through water. Certain sounds, like a loved one's voice or a distant lullaby, can influence the depth and quality of sleep, even prompting micro-arousals or shifts between sleep stages. In 2019, researchers discovered that playing soft pink noise, a sound textured like wind in trees or rain against a window, can enhance slow-wave sleep, deepening brain activity and improving memory retention upon waking. This connection between sound and slumber is ancient. Humans have always used harmonious tones, singing bowls, quiet chants, and whispered stories to coax the body into stillness. It seems that even in our most private hours, the brain keeps one ear to the breeze, tuned to the melodies that guide us gently into the realm of dreams. Fact 17. Animals that hibernate offer a peculiar window into the flexibility of sleep. Take the Arctic ground squirrel, whose body temperature can drop below freezing during torpor, a state that mimics sleep but goes even deeper. While hibernating, these squirrels cycle through brief spurts of brain activity known as interbout arousals, during which their sleep resembles REM. Scientists believe this may prevent degeneration of the nervous system during long inactivity. Meanwhile, bears, who also hibernate, retain a form closer to standard sleep, with a lowered metabolism but continuous cycling between light and deep stages. Hibernation is not simply a prolonged nap, but an ancient adjustment to harsh environments, rewriting the rules of rest to accommodate survival. In caves and hollows, tucked beneath snow or nestled in moss, these creatures lapse into months-long sleeps that edge close to suspended animation. Through them, nature reminds us that sleep is not a rigid template, but a responsive rhythm, capable of adapting across climates, species, and needs. Fact 18. The sleeping brain is not entirely alone in its rhythms. It communicates subtly with the heart, lungs, and even the gut. During non-REM sleep, heart rate and blood pressure drop in synchrony with brain waves, as though the entire body is humming in a slower key. Breathing becomes steadier, and digestion shifts into a quieter mode, managed by the parasympathetic nervous system, the same branch that governs calm and restoration. Interestingly, studies have found that the brain may respond to signals from the gut even during sleep, suggesting a bidirectional conversation continues beneath awareness. Melatonin, often known for its role in sleep, is produced abundantly in the gut, pointing to a deeper link between what we eat, how we feel, and how we rest. As the night deepens, this symphony of internal systems plays on, each part moving in gentle harmony, held together by the body's silent knowledge of time, rhythm, and renewal. Sleep, then, is not confined to the mind. It is a full-body ritual, a shared conversation in the language of rest. Fact 19. Sleep deprivation, though common in modern life, holds profound effects on the body and mind, effects that accumulate like shadows when light is withheld. Just one night of missed sleep can reduce attention span and impair memory, while chronic deprivation shrinks the brain's grey matter in areas vital to emotional regulation. In 1964, a 17-year-old named Randy Gardner set the record for the longest recorded period without sleep, staying awake for 11 days. During that time, he experienced mood swings, hallucinations, and cognitive decline, testaments to how critical rest is for mental clarity. The longer we deny our need for sleep, the more the body whispers warnings, weakening immunity, altering hormone levels, and heightening risks of heart disease. It is as if sleep is a sacred ledger, and each hour neglected leaves a mark. Balanced sleep, then, is not indulgence, but necessity, a biological pact we strike with nature, promising moments of stillness in exchange for wakeful vitality. Fact 20. Among the many mysteries woven into the rhythm of sleep is the phenomenon of sleep paralysis, a moment when the mind wakes before the body, creating a strange liminal state between dream and reality. During REM sleep, our muscles are gently frozen, a process meant to keep us still while we dream. But sometimes, this atonia lingers as awareness returns, and the sleeper finds themselves unable to move, speak, or even cry out. It can last only a few seconds, but in those moments, the sense of vulnerability can feel immense, especially when accompanied by dreamlike hallucinations. Across centuries and cultures, people have interpreted this state in mythic ways, from malevolent spirits sitting on the chest to encounters with otherworldly beings. In truth, it is a temporary misalignment in sleep's choreography, a harmless, if unsettling, reminder of how closely our conscious and unconscious lives dance together. Even in this eerie pause, the body remains calm, and the spell eventually lifts, leaving behind a soft whisper of mystery in the quiet hours before dawn. Fact 21. Even in the silent dark of sleep, the mind rehearses and prepares. Research has shown that during REM sleep, the brain strengthens neural pathways associated with learned tasks like playing music or practicing a new language. In one study, participants who practiced piano melodies during the day showed heightened brain activity in motor regions during the night, as though the music echoed on in cells. Athletes, too, benefit from this overnight rehearsal, as sleep aids in muscle memory and coordination. It is as if the mind, while dreaming, continues its work in an abstract realm, layering skill upon skill without lifting a finger. The night becomes not only a time of forgetting, but also of embedding, when fleeting practice transforms into lasting knowledge. Sleep, then, is not idle. It is continuation, a quiet trainer at the edge of awareness, marching thoughts down neural corridors until they become reflex, etched where memory meets instinct and readiness rests in silence. Fact 22. In the animal kingdom, sleep takes many forms, shaped by environment, biology, and behavior. Birds, for instance, are known to engage in unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain rests while the other remains alert. This allows them to sleep mid-flight during long migrations, one eye closed to the stars, the other to the wind. Dolphins and some seals use this same technique, gently gliding through water while half their mind dreams and the other watches. Even horses and elephants, grand in form, sleep standing up in their lighter stages, only lying down for deep sleep when safety allows. These patterns reveal sleep's adaptability, a testament to its value despite the danger that comes with stillness. Nature has found ways to retain rest while keeping one foot or fin or feather in wakefulness. It is a quiet reminder that even in vigilance, we are drawn back towards slumber, each heartbeat echoing the universal sway between rest and awareness. Fact 23. In the high stillness of the Andes Mountains, llamas sleep facing the morning sunday. In quiet salt flats, flamingos sleep balanced on one leg, their heads nestled against their backs like folded wings. Each species, each body, holds its own map of rest, etched by millennia of adaptation. Migratory swifts may remain aloft for months, sleeping while gliding on currents beneath starlight. Meanwhile, octopuses pulse in color-shifting slumber, their skin flashing dreams in a language of pigment and motion. These varied expressions of sleep reveal that rest is not a single script, but a symphony of strategies woven by evolution's hand to match habitat, need, and rhythm. From coral reefs to jungle canopy, sleep finds its way in 1,000 forms, whispering across beaks, fur, shells, and fins. Wherever life stirs, it seems, rest soon follows, like twilight after sunshine, inevitable and sacred in nature's great design. Fact 24. The cycles of sleep are not only bound to the body, they are also tethered to time itself. History reveals that human rest was once split into two distinct slumbers, known as the first and second sleep. Before the industrial age's rhythm of clocks and electric light, people in many parts of the world would fall asleep shortly after nightfall, wake for a quiet hour or two in the deep heart of night, then return to their beds until dawn. During that gentle interval between the two sleeps, some read by candlelight, others prayed or reflected, wrote in journals, or even visited neighbors. Literature from the 16th and 17th centuries speaks calmly of first sleep as a shared concept, not an anomaly. With the advent of artificial lighting and structured workdays, this pattern faded, compressed into the single stretch we now consider normal. But buried in our biological memory lies the imprint of this past rhythm, a softer unfolding of time, reminding us that sleep, too, was once unrushed, a layered quiet, folded gently into the shape of night. Fact 25. In certain sleep laboratories, it has been observed that our brains anticipate waking before the alarm sounds, a phenomenon known as the pre-wake rise. This anticipatory effect is linked to a hormone called adrenocorticotropin, which begins to rise in the final stages of sleep, gently nudging the body toward wakefulness. For many people, this soft stirring occurs about an hour before the alarm, a sign that consciousness is inching its way back from the dream world. It's a quietly poetic feature of sleep physiology, hinting at the brain's attunement not just to time, but to intention. Even in rest, it listens, adapts, prepares. This inner clockwork, tuned by habit and experience, reflects the remarkable subtlety of the sleeping mind, a mind not switched off, but operating in quiet twilight, holding space for what comes next, and gently lifting us back toward morning light with the invisible hands of memory and rhythm. Fact 26. Sleep is a realm where the brain fosters emotional balance, not merely rest. In 2007, researchers found that people deprived of REM sleep showed increased amygdala activity, the brain region tied to fear and anxiety, reacting up to 60% more to negative stimuli. Without the nightly recalibration that sleep offers, emotions fray more easily, and thoughts lose their softness. REM acts like a gentle therapist, sifting through the day's feelings and filing them with subtle precision, untangling knots of uncertainty in the quiet hours. This may be why dreams often echo recent emotional events, turning them over in symbolic loops until their weight begins to lift. Sleep, then, is not only a healer of the body, but a caretaker of the soul, easing the burdens of waking life by night's invisible hand, helping to cradle the fragile threads of emotion in the dark, where they can be softened and rewoven by light. Fact 27. Among the many rhythms that guide sleep, one of the most delicate is the ultradian cycle, the shorter wave within the night's longer tide. Each sleep cycle, roughly 90 minutes in length, unfolds in a sequence of phases repeating through the night, much like a sacred pattern written into time. These ultradian rhythms are not confined only to sleep. During the day, they shape our focus and fatigue, orchestrating pulses of alertness and subtle dips into fog. During sleep, these cycles whisper when to descend into delta and when to ascend toward dreams. Scientists have observed that the brain's electrical activity follows regular fluctuations, like the gentle inhaling and exhaling of the tides. As one cycle ends, another begins a rhythm so constant yet gentle that we rarely perceive its presence. And yet, it is this quiet spiral through light and dark sleep that carries us through the night like a boat set adrift on slow celestial waves, always moving, always returning, always softly mending the fabric of self. Fact 28. Lucid dreaming offers a rare bridge between the waking and sleeping mind, where awareness dawns inside the dream itself. In this state, the dreamer knows they are dreaming, and with practice, some can even gently shape the dream's direction. Ancient texts from the 8th century suggest Buddhist practitioners cultivated lucid dreams as part of their spiritual training, while modern science began its study in earnest during the 1970s. In sleep laboratories, researchers have tracked lucid dreamers by their ability to move their eyes in prearranged patterns, while a sleep proof that consciousness remains lightly tethered. While lucid dreaming occurs most often during REM sleep, it dances at the edges of awareness, like a candle glowing within mist. For some, it brings adventure. For others, introspection. But always, it reminds us that sleep is not absence, but a shifting theatre where the mind can awaken within the dream and momentarily speak its own name, echoing in the liminal space where story meets self and the night listens on. Fact 29. In the near weightlessness of space, sleep transforms once more, adapting to a world without gravity's lull. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station experience 16 sunrises each day as the station orbits Earth every 90 minutes, throwing natural circadian rhythms into disarray. To manage rest in this spinning twilight, Crew members tether themselves gently inside sleeping bags on the wall or ceiling, cocooned in stillness amid drifting pencils and floating books. Artificial lighting simulates Earth's day-night cycle, and schedules are meticulously designed to preserve sleep quality. Yet despite these efforts, many astronauts report lighter, more fragmented sleep, their minds adjusting to the quiet hum of machinery and the constant whisper of microgravity. In this distant realm, even dreams may drift differently, shaped by the body's unfamiliar freedom. Sleep in space becomes both a science and a whisper of home, a reminder that the need to rest follows us even among the stars, gently insisting on its rhythm in the vast, circling silence above our blue world. Fact 30. Though sleep seems like retreat, silence, stasis, it is, in truth, a theatre of immense complexity. Beneath every yawn and exhale, the brain conducts a silent ballet between neurotransmitters, with chemicals like serotonin, adenosine, and GABA shifting roles in slow turns. Adenosine builds throughout the day, nudging us gently toward fatigue, then ebbs as rest begins. Meanwhile, serotonin, a mood stabilizer, assists in sleep onset, while GABA, the calming signal, soothes the neural orchestra into softer tones. As the night flows, their ebb and rise form the tempo of slumber. These molecules do not act alone, they are dancers in a greater waltz, responding to light, memory, sound, and even breath. When balance is struck, sleep unfolds effortlessly, like the petals of a moonlit blossom. When disrupted, the mind strains, caught between stages, or stirred too soon. And so, each night becomes a quiet negotiation between compounds and rhythms, a chemical lullaby layered in time, memory, and deep biological grace. Fact 31. The patterns of sleep are stitched not only into our DNA, but also into the turning of the Earth itself. In 2017, scientists measured the sleep cycles of people living in rural communities without access to electricity and found their rhythms remarkably aligned with the sun, rising shortly before dawn and settling soon after sunset. Even in winter's shorter days, their sleep remained consistent, suggesting a natural resilience in the body's timekeeping. This harmony, once ubiquitous, has become rare in modern life, where artificial light and long work hours blur the line between day and night, delaying sleep and shrinking its span. Yet studies show that when people temporarily disconnect from electric light, their sleep shifts back in time, aligning once more with the ancient pulse of dusk and dawn. In this, we see that sleep is not merely a personal act, but a conversation with the cosmos, a reflection of planetary motion held quietly in the soft blink between each day's close and the next one's beginning. Fact 32. Within the ebbing tide of hormones that guide rest, cortisol plays a strangely elegant role. Known commonly as the stress hormone, cortisol does not simply vanish at night, it dips in the evening, only to begin its rise in the pre-dawn hours. This early surge, called the cortisol awakening response, prepares the body gently for the return to wakefulness. It fuels energy, sharpens alertness, and lifts blood pressure, like sunlight stretching softly across a quiet room. The dance of cortisol is subtle and circadian, part of the body's anticipatory rhythm that shapes our mornings long before our eyes open. Yet when its rise comes too soon or too strong, often a result of chronic stress, sleep becomes fragile, broken by a restless mind or shallow dreams. Understanding this intricate chemical rhythm reveals how closely sleep and stress entwine, each influencing the other in a delicate duet. Sleep does not ignore the pressures of day, it processes them, absorbs them, and sometimes pauses just long enough to heal their edge before the next light arrives. Fact 33. In the world of dreams and stillness, even the rhythms of breathing play a role in shaping sleep's depth and quality. Slow and steady breathing patterns like those fostered by meditation or yoga nidra activate the parasympathetic nervous system, inviting the body into a state of calm that mirrors the onset of non-REM sleep. Studies have shown that paced respiration can lower heart rate and reduce cortisol levels, smoothing the path into restful slumber. During sleep itself, breathing shifts with the stages becoming slow and regular in deep sleep, more irregular and variable during REM. Breathing disorders like sleep apnea, marked by pauses and disruptions, can fracture this flow, pulling the sleeper from deep rest and scattering the night's healing potential. But in the gentle in and out of air through lungs at rest, we find echoes of ancient rituals, the breath as a thread connecting body to mind, mind to dream, and dream to the outer hush. Sleep begins, after all, with a breath and continues as a quiet tide, rising and falling within us, unnoticed yet deeply known. Fact 34. Memory, that delicate architecture of the mind, finds a skilled craftsman in sleep. As we rest, experiences of the day are sifted and sorted, with short-term recollections polished into long-term knowledge. During slow-wave sleep, the hippocampus, our inner librarian, replays moments like echoing footsteps in a quiet hall, passing them carefully to the neocortex for safer keeping. This process, known as memory consolidation, allows the ephemeral to become enduring, embedding facts, feelings, and motor skills into lasting structure. Studies with students and test subjects have shown that sleeping after learning dramatically improves recall, while sleep deprivation weakens the mind's ability to store even the simplest sequence. It's as though the brain, under the hush of night, kneels beside each newly lit candle of knowledge, protecting its flame against forgetfulness, and making sure that by morning the room is softly alight with what we quietly hope to keep. Fact 35. Circadian rhythms, while deeply innate, do not flow uniformly in all people. They ripple uniquely based on chronotype, the natural inclination towards certain sleep and waking times. Some are early risers, known as larks, whose energy crests with the morning sunday. Others are night owls, drawn to the hush of late hours, when the world dims and thoughts bloom freely. These tendencies are not merely habits, but biological dispositions shaped by genetics and age. Teens, for instance, are more likely to shift into later rhythms, while older adults often return to early rising. Technology and modern schedules may force alignment away from these natural patterns, creating a quiet tension between biology and obligation. Understanding one's chronotype opens a doorway to better rest and deeper vitality, allowing the rhythms of life to harmonize more closely with the rhythms within. In honoring the shape of our own internal tides, we give sleep the gentle home. It has always sought a rhythm not dictated, but discovered in the shadows of each passing day. Fact 36. Beneath the intricate rhythms of the adult brain, the sleep of infants holds profound mysteries not just of rest, but of development itself. A newborn spends nearly 16 hours each day asleep, but their cycles are shorter, lasting around 50 minutes, and dominated by active sleep, which resembles REM. In this stage, their tiny bodies twitch, their faces shift through expressions, and their eyes move beneath closed lids, all subtle signs of a brain rapidly building. During these early months, sleep fuels synaptogenesis, the forging of countless neural connections that will later shape perception, language, and emotion. Each sleep session becomes a silent workshop, where experience and sensation are woven into architecture. Even without dreams as we know them, infants live in a realm of sensory echoes and forming maps, sketching the boundaries of their world beneath the hum of lullabies and the warmth of held arms. Sleep in infancy is not escape, but emergence, a tender scaffolding on which the entire future mind will slowly rise. Fact 37. In elderly sleep, patterns once steady begin to gently shift, returning the body toward earlier rhythms while shortening the night's duration. As we age, the production of melatonin often decreases, and the boundaries between sleep stages become more porous. Deep, slow-wave sleep, so abundant in youth, grows rarer, replaced by lighter states more easily disturbed. Many older adults experience advanced sleep phase syndrome, drifting toward earlier bedtimes and pre-dawn waking. And yet, despite these changes, the overall need for rest remains unchanged. It's not that the aging brain desires less sleep, it simply receives it differently, in fragments and waves rather than long, seamless tides. Afternoon naps may grow more inviting, nighttime awakenings more frequent, but woven within these adjustments lies a quiet resilience, an adaptability of rest that honors both biology and the flux of time. Sleep in later life becomes a softer, more reflective rhythm, echoing not decline, but quiet transformation, where rest continues to matter deeply, even as the night finds new ways to embrace the soul. Fact 38. In monasteries high in the Himalayas and quiet abbeys along riverbanks, monks have long practiced a kind of sleep woven into devotion, polyphasic rest shaped by prayer and stillness. Rather than sleeping in one long stretch, they sleep briefly at night, and again in shorter segments before dawn or during midday, aligning their rest with sacred chants and rituals. This segmented sleep is not hurried, but deliberate, a thoughtful shaping of slumber to mirror the rhythm of faith and reflection. Polyphasic sleep has also found form in seafaring traditions, where solo sailors nap in careful bursts to navigate long journeys. Here, sleep is a resource both precious and partitioned, portioned in harmony with necessity. These subtle, ancient rhythms remind us that rest can be molded to purpose without losing its grace. Whether indulged in deep stillness or scattered like petals across the day, sleep continues to nourish in whatever shape we offer, whispering always that renewal lies not in duration alone, but in the peace within each moment surrendered to rest. Fact 39. Sleep is a bridge not only across time within a single night, but across generations of inherited cycles. In 2019, researchers uncovered subtle genetic influences shaping individual sleep traits, from preferred bedtime to vulnerability to insomnia. One gene, called DEC2, allows rare individuals to thrive on less than 6 hours of sleep without cognitive deficits, a trait passed quietly through bloodlines. Other genes impact how quickly we fall asleep, how deeply we rest, or how vividly we dream. Sleep, it seems, is written in our code as much as in our habits, a biological script handed down through centuries. But while genetics shape the angle of slumber, environment, and ritual fill in its color, customizing rest across culture, season, and place. The lullabies sung to us, the softness of night air, the scent of pine or rain through the window all mingle with our DNA to form the texture of our nightly journeys. In this way, sleep is both ancient architecture and personal poem, repeated but never the same, always evolving softly in the quiet rooms where we lie still and trust the dark. Fact 40. Within the poetic hush of sleep, the sense of time itself dissolves, unraveling into dreams where minutes stretch or collapse altogether. During REM, a single moment can hold what feels like hours, as if the mind drapes a new fabric over the clock. Studies have shown that the experience of time in dreams can sometimes match real-world timing, but often it swells or slips, responding more to emotion than order. A rush of fear may extend a second into a sprawling chase, while peace can smooth hours into a single floating scene. Children, whose inner clocks are still forming, often dream in wide loops of wonder, while adults may find time fragmenting or looping strangely in their sleep. This distortion hints at the flexibility of our inner experience and reminds us that the hours of night are not measured solely in minutes, but in images, emotions, and the ineffable hush between thoughts. Sleep, then, becomes a realm not bound to calendars or alarms, but one where time sighs and reshapes, ever fluid, ever tender. Fact 41. Beneath the gentle tide of dreams lies another secret rhythm, the micro-arousals that flicker across the night. These are brief awakenings, often lasting only seconds, during which the brain scans for safety, then returns to sleep without memory. Most people experience 5 to 15 of these nightly, hidden like whispers in still air. Though they seem like disruptions, micro-arousals are a natural part of sleep architecture, allowing the sleeper to adjust position, regulate temperature, or respond subtly to unfamiliar sound. Infants have even more of these fleeting wake-ups. Their young systems are tuned to every change in the cradle of their rest. Like the quiet creak of a boat adjusting to the wave, these arousals are signs not of brokenness but flexibility. They mark the sleeper's dialogue with the environment's silent checkpoints that keep dream and wakefulness in steady balance. And in their quiet coming and going, they reveal that even unbroken sleep is gently stirred, carrying us in currents both known and unseen, all beneath the hush of night. Fact 42. As we continue to drift through the unseen landscapes of slumber, we find that sleep not only restores the body and mind, but also nurtures the immune system. During the deepest stages of rest, the body increases its production of cytokines, proteins that communicate between cells during immune responses. These molecules rise especially during infection, stress, or inflammation, and their synthesis depends greatly on adequate, unbroken sleep. Scientists have observed that people who sleep fewer hours are more likely to catch colds or recover slowly from illness. Even the effectiveness of vaccines can be influenced by sleep, as the immune system solidifies its response more efficiently after a full night's rest. In this silent healing, the body is not passive, it is working, carefully rebuilding its defenses, conserving energy for renewal, and calibrating vigilance for the waking hours. Sleep, then, becomes a kind of moonlit forge for immunity, crafting resilience in the hush between each breath, reminding us that every hour surrendered to stillness gives something powerful in return, the strength to begin again. Fact 43. The posture in which we sleep can influence more than comfort. It gently shapes breath, digestion, and even the pathways of the mind's restoration. Lying on the left side, for instance, has long been associated with benefits to digestion, as it encourages gravity-assisted flow through the digestive tract. This position may also ease symptoms of acid reflux and promote lymphatic drainage along the body's natural channels. In recent neurological studies, sleep posture has been linked to the brain's waste-clearing glymphatic system, which appears more efficient when lying on one side rather than the back. Cultural traditions, too, speak to sleep positions with quiet reverence. Some yogic texts describe rest on the right side as aligning with energy currents, while stories from old shepherds and sailors caution against sleeping face down beneath rough skies. Though we are rarely conscious of the moment we turn or settle, the body seems to know what it needs, curling into the night like a leaf settling on water, finding its quiet geometry for repair and release in the limitless theatre of dreams. Fact 44. The scent that surrounds us while we sleep may also play a role in the fabric of our dreams. In a 2008 study, researchers found that the introduction of pleasant smells, like roses, during REM sleep tended to be associated with more positive dreams, while unpleasant odors often colored dreams with discomfort or tension. This phenomenon, known as olfactory dream modulation, suggests that even as we sleep, our environment quietly informs the journeys of the mind. Since the brain's olfactory bulb connects directly to areas responsible for emotion and memory, scent slips past filters with surprising ease, weaving itself into narrative without words. Aromatherapy traditions echo this science. Lavender, chamomile, and sandalwood oils have been used across centuries to soothe and invite rest. Whether it's the familiarity of a parent's perfume, the soft trace of a flower at the windowsill, or the earthy hush of rain-soaked soil, scent tethers us gently to place and comfort. In the orchestra of sleep, it is the breath's secret companion, shaping not just the depth of slumber, but the feeling of the dream itself, tender as a breeze through an open midnight window. Fact 45. The quiet murmur of the heart does not pause for sleep, it adjusts, flowing gracefully through stages of the night with its own nocturnal rhythm. During non-REM sleep, the heart rate slows, its beat deep and regular, like the distant pulse of a tide against a sleeping shore. Blood vessels relax, blood pressure declines, and the cardiovascular system enters a restorative phase, reducing its daytime strain. But during REM, the calm shifts, the heartbeat becomes irregular, echoing the active dreamscape of the brain. These fluctuations reflect the mind's inner theater, each emotional surge leaving its trace on the rhythm of the chest. Long-term sleep deprivation, scientists have found, can raise blood pressure and increase the risk of heart disease, showing how closely our physical resilience depends on nightly renewal. Yet in peaceful rest, the heart finds balance again, returning to softness, its sound a lullaby composed moment by moment beneath our ribs, a reminder that even in slumber, the body plays on, ticking time in silence and peace beneath the cradle of dreams. Fact 46. In the gentle currents of sleep, the body secretes a hormone called prolactin, often associated with bonding and calm, which reaches its highest levels during the deepest hours of rest. In new parents, prolactin is elevated not only to aid lactation but to nurture restfulness, an unseen comfort that softens the edges of fatigue. During sleep, its presence helps regulate the immune system and modulates mood, easing the body into its nightly ceremony of healing. Like a soft thread woven through the silence, prolactin contributes to the sense of wholeness we feel after a peaceful night. Its effects linger into waking, cushioning early moments with subtle calm. In the sacred quiet, when breath and dreams align, it hums quietly beneath awareness, part of the hormonal constellation that guides us through sleep's vast night sky. It is yet another gentle steward in the orchestra of slumber, a molecule of care and kindness, reminding us that sleep is not just restoration, it is nourishment shaped by chemistry and compassion, hour after darkened hour. Fact 47. The silence of night holds many rhythms, and among them is the small but persistent tick of genetic clocks, tiny mechanisms within our cells that guide the cadence of sleep and wakefulness. Known as clock genes, these strands of DNA turn on and off in precise sequences, generating biological signals that tell our bodies when to rise, when to eat, when to rest. The most well-known of these, PER and CRI, oscillate over a 24-hour cycle, like lighthouses of timing buried in each organ. Disruptions in these genes, whether through shift work, jet lag, or artificial light, can ripple effects across metabolism, mood, and memory. In fruit flies, changes in these genes have altered not only sleep patterns, but lifespan. In humans, mutations in the clock machinery are linked to disorders like delayed sleep phase and familial advanced sleep phase syndrome, where midnight feels like morning or sunset like time to sleep. These quiet helixes keep time not with bells or buzzers, but with the soft turning of molecules in the dark, threading each cell into the great symphony of night and the ever-returning promise of dawn. Fact 48. In the architecture of sleep, one final but pivotal feature remains the twilight of awakening. As we emerge from dreams, the shift from sleep to alertness is not instantaneous, but governed by a gentle bridge known as sleep inertia. This state, often lasting between 15 and 60 minutes, is marked by slowed reaction time, reduced cognitive performance, and a lingering haze of quiet disorientation. Like fog lifting from a coastal hill, our thoughts take time to clear. The depth of preceding sleep influences the inertia. Waking from REM leaves us more alert, while rising from slow-wave sleep can steep us in profound grogginess. Around the globe, traditions have honored this threshold moment, with slow rituals, warm tea, morning light, breath drawn through silence. These customs reflect a truth. Sleep itself teaches we are not machines awakening with switches, but tides returning from depth to surface. And as our journey through the 100 truths of sleep cycles draws softly to a close, we are reminded that in rest, in waking, in every breath between worlds, we are part of something timeless and tender, the rhythm of all life, sung silently beneath the stars, waiting each night to carry us home. Fact 49. In ancient cave paintings and early mythologies, slumber often appeared not as absence, but as a sacred passage, an initiation into mystery. Some tribes of the Amazon spoke of the second self encountered only in dreams, while in Aboriginal traditions, the dream time is a foundational realm where creation stories live, reached through deep states of rest or meditative vision. Modern neuroscience may not map these mythic places in full, yet it does recognize the profound transformation that sleep enables not just in body, but in perception. During sleep, especially deep and REM phases, the default mode network of the brain, tied to introspection and imagination, becomes active, suggesting a re-engagement with the narrative self, the internal storyteller. In this way, the sleeper is not merely recovering but journeying, revisiting the symbols and echoes that weave their way through waking life and the unconscious alike. Sleep is not forgetting but remembering differently, through loops of symbol and silence. And in this quiet remembering, touched each night by ancient rhythms and personal mystery, we drift, not alone, but held each of us suspended between stars and soil, dreaming towards something just out of reach, and ever softly understood. Fact 50. Beneath the hush of sleep's final truths lies a turning point, a threshold not only from night to day, but from inquiry to surrender. Science continues to explore what happens when we sleep and why we must. Yet some corners remain softly veiled, like stars never quite in view. Each cycle, each breath, each gentle pulse of brain or heart contributes to a deeper music we only half hear, an intricate lullaby humming through every species, every age, every cell. Perhaps the true secret sleep holds is not in the circuitry or waves, but in its invitation to let go. In a world so full of noise, sleep remains our last quiet sanctuary, where the body remembers time before words, and the mind loosens its grip on certainty to simply drift. And so, as we close our passage through these 100 truths, let silence press softly like velvet upon thought. Let the rhythms carry you, and in this steady dark, with dreams as your compass, may every question fall away and every breath find its way home. Good night. Fact 51. In the glimmering stillness of the deep ocean, where the sun's reach has long faded, even the simplest life forms follow rhythms that mirror the pulse of sleep. Scientists studying bioluminescent plankton have found patterns of light emission that ebb and flow with circadian cycles, as if guided by a clock unseen. These microscopic wanderers sink slightly during the day and rise again at dusk, a vertical migration linked to their rest and feeding rhythms. This silent procession spans billions of individuals across vast stretches of water, moving together as a living tide drawn by the turning earth. Though they possess no brains and are invisible to our eyes, their dance is attuned to the same celestial rhythms that guide our sleep. In this way, the story of rest deepens, extending beyond mammals and dreams, all the way to the drifting shimmer of cells in salt darkened by time, reminding us that the urge to pause, to return, to be still for a while, is written not only into biology, but into the quiet law of all living things. Fact 52. As sleep unfolds through hours and stages, it also weaves itself into creativity, offering insight beyond the reach of waking logic. In 1818, Mary Shelley conceived of her Gothic masterpiece, Frankenstein, during a dreamlike reverie, a half-sleep whirring with imagery and emotion. Paul McCartney has spoken of melodies arriving in dreams, unheard before sleep but remembered with perfect clarity upon waking. This phenomenon, known as hypnagogic inspiration, emerges during the fleeting moments between wakefulness and sleep, when the mind relaxes its boundaries and associations flow with ease. Artists, inventors, and thinkers have long courted this margin, lying down not simply for rest, but for the unfurling of possibility. In this liminal state, the conscious mind loosens its hold and allows quiet connections to surface, like stars emerging one by one in an uncluttered night sky. Sleep does not end our creativity, it cradles it. And in those tender crossings between states, we are given glimpses of insight, offered like soft-wrapped gifts from the dream world, waiting to be remembered when light returns. Fact 53. In the quiet mathematics of the brain, one process stands as sleep's most intimate guardian: synaptic homeostasis. Each day, our brains gather experiences, strengthening the connections between neurons, tiny synapses lit by the fires of interaction, thought, and learning. But as the sun sets and sleep descends, these synapses do not continue without end, they are carefully scaled back. Scientists call this downscaling a crucial aspect of sleep's function, preventing overstimulation and maintaining mental clarity. Without it, the mind might become overloaded, like a field filled with too many tangled paths. During slow-wave sleep especially, this synaptic pruning restores balance, heightens sensitivity to new knowledge, and prepares the brain for learning again. It is a quiet editing of thought, trimming excess, preserving meaning, and making space for the day to come. In this regard, sleep is not only rest, it is refinement, a sculptor's touch in the dark, slowly shaping the landscape of memory and perception until the mind awakes, crisp and wide like morning air, ready once more to know the world. Fact 54. Across mountains and valleys, across cultures separated by oceans and centuries, the rituals of bedtime reveal how deeply humanity has sought to harmonize with sleep's call. In parts of southern Italy, small bundles of lavender and rosemary were passed from mother to child, said to soothe both spirit and breath. In Korea, woven straw mats and wooden pillows guided posture and airflow, believed to protect dreams from stagnation. In the Sami traditions of the north, cradles were lined with reindeer hide and lullabies sung to mimic the wind, teaching infants to rest as the wild does in rhythm with the land. Even in the modern world, echoes of these rituals persist: a mug of warm milk, the soft rustle of pages in a book, the hum of a favorite melody. These customs, humble as they are, reflect an instinct older than science, a deep, quiet knowing that to sleep is to listen inward, to engage in a sacred act of trust. As we prepare to step from this journey through the 100 truths of sleep, let us honor not just the biology but the poetry of slumber. For in every habit, every gesture, every hush that leads us gently toward rest, we are practicing something ancient, the art of letting go. Fact 55. And so, at the edge of this soft-lit path through dreams and science, we find that sleep is not just an individual need, but a shared inheritance passed down in the rhythms of breath, the memory of stars, and the hush between heartbeats. Whether through ancient myth, genetic pulse, or the quiet flicker of brainwaves, the cycles of sleep reveal a truth as steady as moonrise. Rest is how life remembers itself. Across time zones and lifetimes, from the drifting plankton to the sighing poet, we are bound by the lull that folds each day's page into silence. If every living thing carries within it a clock, then perhaps sleep is the hour when the world turns inward, not to vanish, but to become whole again. Let this final truth linger, like candle smoke in a calm room. Sleep holds us, shapes us, and each night offers the oldest promise of all, that after every dark, we rise. Until then, may peace settle softly across your thoughts, and may the rhythm of rest carry you gently all the way home. Fact 56. In every culture, there are words for sleep that carry not just meaning, but feeling terms that reflect softness, surrender, and even reverence. The Japanese word nemuri speaks of peaceful repose, while slap in Dutch and sommeil in French evoke a cradle of calm. In Swahili, uzingizi ripples like water over stones, and in ancient Sanskrit, nidra referred to divine rest, worshipped in rituals devoted to the cosmic sleep of gods. These names, spoken in 1,000 tongues, rise like lullabies over generations, echoing the same hope that sleep may find us kindly, carry us fully, and return us whole. And perhaps, in naming it, each people offers sleep their own mirror, shaped by wind, by hearth, by moonlight. As this journey through the mysteries of sleep draws to its end, let this final whisper rest within you. Sleep is not just a cycle of the body, but a wordless poem recited by the stars, an inheritance written in silence, a sacred breath we share beneath the watchful hush of night. Fact 57. As the final glow of this gentle exploration fades into the background, we are left with a simple, mutual truth that sleep is not merely the absence of waking, but a space we return to again and again with faith. It is where our minds untangle, where biology becomes poetry, and where the vast intelligence of life speaks in pulses and patterns rather than words. Whether you are a student seeking focus, a parent craving rest, or a wanderer of dreams drawn to mystery, the cycles of sleep meet you where you are softly, without demand. They offer a nightly homecoming, an unseen tide that carries the self toward depth, then gently back to light. In finishing this journey through 100 truths, may you carry with you not only strange wonders and soothing facts, but also a deeper tenderness for the quiet inner rhythms that guide you. Now, close your eyes, the world will wait, and in the silence that follows this last whisper, may you find rest, true, deep, and whole. Good night. Fact 58. Finally, in the great spiraling mystery of sleep, there is comfort in knowing that we are never alone in our surrender tonight. Each hour, somewhere on Earth, millions close their eyes, as others awaken nature's ongoing tide of rest and renewal flowing ceaselessly around the globe. From city apartments glowing softly through curtains to mountain huts where wind sings against stone, sleep unfolds as a planetary ritual, shared yet deeply personal. Birds nestle into feathers, flowers fold inward, oceans hush against distant shores, and we too lie down, hoping not only for rest, but for return. With each breath, the world exhales a little, the heartbeat of life reclining into rhythm. And though our dreams may differ, the invitation is the same to drift back into the vast quiet from which we came, where thought thins and time softens, and the unseen hand of sleep cradles every soul in turn. So let the night gather you gently, and may you rest in the ancient peace that waits behind every closed eye. Sleep well. Fact 59. And as we reach the soft closing edge of this hundredfold journey through sleep's delicate architecture, we arrive not with a final answer, but with a pause, a space between thoughts, gently lit by understanding and quiet wonder. For what could be more human, more universal, than this nightly surrender to stillness? Across every fact and whisper we've explored each rhythm, each sigh, each note of biology and touch of myth. We are reminded that sleep is not merely a function, but an invitation, an ancient rhythm marking our place in the vast, unfolding poem of life. So as you rest now, embraced by the hush between heartbeats, trust in what is timeless and tender. The night holds you, the stars remember you, and sleep will always find you, just as it has for millions of years, softly, slowly, like a memory of peace rediscovered. Good night, and may your dreams carry you gently beyond these final words. Fact 60. And thus, in the final breath of this long, gentle voyage through the corridors of sleep, we draw the curtain one last time. Not to close the story, but to honor its silence. 100 steps closer to understanding, yet still cradled by mystery. For sleep remains a wonder no number can fully hold. Beneath science, beyond symbols, and through every drifting moment of rest, it whispers the same lullaby to all life. Pause, let go, be renewed. What began in oceans, in stars, in the cells of ancient beings, now ends as all true journeys end in stillness. May these truths nest softly within you, like feathers in dusk light, and may your own sleep tonight, and always, be deep, gentle, and complete. Good night. Sleep, after all, is not the absence of light, but the blooming of another kind of illumination, one that reveals not to the eyes, but to the inner self. In this final pause, we acknowledge the quiet majesty of all we've wandered through. From drifting plankton to orbiting astronauts, from REM dreamscapes to ancient lullabies whispered across time, we have settled into the arms of biology, rocked gently by stories shared by stars and cells alike. Now, with the last hush of this voyage folding like a soft page closed, there is only the breath, the slow quiet within, and the invitation to follow where dreams may lead. Thank you for allowing these words to dwell softly beside your rest. Let darkness cradle you now, not as absence, but as endless embrace. Good night. Sleep deeply. Dream freely. And so we leave this long, slow stream of wonder, watching as it fades behind the horizon like twilight sinking into sea. 100 truths have floated past, each a lantern of thought, casting soft light on the tender architecture of sleep. In them, we've seen the pulse of deep time and the breath of the tiniest cell, the overlapping hum of science and the whispered hush of ancient myth. We have not chased answers, but walked quietly beside questions, letting them guide our gaze into the hush beyond words. Sleep, in all its rhythms and shadows, remains both familiar and unfathomable, a bridge between moments, an echo of the cosmos within us. As you drift from these final words into your own slow turning dusk, may your breath carry you gently, like a sigh through branches in wind. May your dreams gather, soft and low, and may you awaken changed, touched by the simple miracle of rest. Good night, traveler. Sleep now. The story sleeps with you. And so, as the final threads of this dream-laced journey slip quietly into the folds of night, we rest in the knowledge that to sleep is to gently surrender to something vast, ancient, and intimately ours. 100 truths have softly gathered like twilight falling on old constellations, and now nothing more needs to be said. Let wisdom rest beside you like a warm blanket, and let curiosity hum on in your breath, slow and deep. Tonight, may your sleep be vast as oceans and still as the forest before dawn. May every part of you drift into that sacred quiet where time no longer tugs and thought dissolves like mist. Let sleep hold you now, completely and kindly. Until we meet again in the quiet spaces of wonder, good night, and peace on your journey inward, where all things settle and all stillness sings. And so, as we close the last page of this twilight manuscript, let the stillness be your companion now. Not just the silence of a room gone quiet, but the deeper hush that lives beneath thought. You have wandered with us through 100 truths, gliding through science like starlight across calm waters. If sleep is a story told by the body each night, then tonight let yours speak in gentle rhythms and dreams unhurried. Let memory soften, let breath deepen, and let the quiet embrace you like the shore welcomes salt. There is nothing more to know, only the truth of rest, steady and eternal. Sleep well, traveler. You are home now. And just before silence takes us fully, One whisper remains a gentle thank you, quietly woven beneath every fact and echo shared here tonight. For your presence, for your breath, for the trust with which you've listened, these are the true lullabies. Sleep, in the end, is not a science alone, nor only a story. It is the shared hush between hearts, the soft rhythm that lives beneath language. And as we step away from this constellation of truth, may tranquility reach you like moonlight on still water. Carry these gentle wonders with you into dreaming, where facts become stars and time folds like soft linen. For now, may the hush deepen, the mind ease, and the heart rest. Good night, quietly and completely. And now, with breath slowed and heart calmed, with stories returning to silence and thought gently loosened, our voyage draws to its final stillness. This has not just been a passage through facts, but a quiet meandering among the rivers of wonder that shape each night's return to sleep. If even a single truth has settled gently in your thoughts, if one image whispered comfort as your eyes closed, then the dreaming has already begun. May the hush linger beyond these words. May solace crinkle softly like pages turned in dusk. And may the rhythm of sleep carry you further than sound or time can reach. We close this journey not with an end, but with the promise that sleep will always wait for you, soft-lit and eternal, ready to embrace you again wherever your night begins. Sleep deeply, dream sweetly. Good night, always. In the hush of this final breath, there is only tranquility. Imagine it now, the night outside, wrapped in starlight unseen, the air still, the room quiet, your body softened into rest. Let every word float away like lanterns over water, glowing for a moment, then gently extinguished by peace. 100 truths have passed like a tender tide over mind and memory, and now, in this last lingering moment before dreams take hold, you are invited to simply be. No need to think, no need to hold on. Let go, drift inward, and let the rhythm of sleep cradle you through the velvet hours. This is not an ending, it is a yielding, a return, a quiet fading into the deeper music of the night. Good night, softly and completely, now and always. Sleep is the final lullaby the universe sings us, each night a canvas of softness painted in invisible strokes, with 100 truths behind us. Like petals floated downstream, we now enter the stillness beyond story. Let silence become your blanket now, woven from breath, darkness, and stars. Let the weight of words soften to nothing, and the rhythm of your heart carry you through this sacred interval between thought and dream. As all things pause the winds, the tides, the clocks, you too may drift, untethered and whole. There is nothing more to hold, nothing more to seek. Just this, the quiet, the dark, the cradle of sleep. Good night, dear soul. Sleep well. And finally, with all the threads gently woven and the last quiet truth whispered, we bring this long lullaby to a close. 100 notes sung softly across time, biology, dreams, and quiet skies have now folded into stillness. Let the memories of them drift through you like soft wind across grass, ungrasped but remembered. No more facts, no more questions, only rest remains. Let it settle in your breath, slow and deep. Let it wrap you like a hush before dawn, tender, unbroken, eternal. For in the end, sleep is not about knowing, but releasing, about becoming water once more, flowing into silence. So now, let go, drift fully, and sleep. You are held. The night watches over you. Good night. And so we leave this realm of rest, not with a farewell, but with a knowing and understanding that sleep is a love letter written to ourselves, each night sealed with breath, silence, and surrender. Though our passage through 100 truths now concludes, the rhythm of sleep continues on, whispering even in the spaces between words. Let tonight be a return to what is tender, timeless, and true. Allow the hush to deepen. Feel the soft embrace of the dark, not as absence, but as home. You are not alone here. You are part of the breath that moves through stars and swaying trees, through quiet rooms and dreaming minds. Now, release everything. Let sleep gather you in its infinite kindness. You have arrived. Sleep well, and until we meet again beneath this velvet sky, good night, endlessly. Sleep, in the end, is not a closing of the eyes, but an opening into quietness, into stillness, into the great gentle tide that moves underneath all things. As we bring this journey to its final breath, know that every wave we've followed, every rhythm we've explored, echoes something essential within you. The need to rest is not weakness, but wisdom. The fall into dreams is not escape, but arrival. And this final whisper, drifting now through the quiet shadows and soft turns of thought, asks nothing of you but this: surrender to the dark, trust in the pause, and let your breath carry you home. Sleep well, endlessly and deeply, carried by the ancient hush that waits just beyond the last word. Good night. And now, as the final breath of this celestial lullaby fades into the hush of the unseen world, let the last shimmer of thought dissolve like dew beneath morning's first light. You've wandered through 100 truths, through myths whispered by moonlight and patterns etched in waves of the mind. The journey has circled, spiraled, and quieted, not to arrive somewhere new, but to return you to yourself, the patient rhythm that has always lived within. In stillness, in breath, in the slow curling of consciousness into dreaming, you are part of something immense and tender. So sleep now, not as escape, but as reunion. Sleep as the stars do, quietly enduring, quietly shining. Good night, forever echoing in the dark like a lullaby long remembered, and always waiting at the edge of silence to begin again. And finally, as all light recedes and only the rhythm of your breath remains, we close the cover on this dream-shaped compendium of rest. 100 truths have floated past like fireflies in dusk, illuminating the endless quiet of the sleeping world. Whatever stirred your mind, calmed your spirit, or warmed your curiosity along the way, carry it gently within. For sleep, that ancient companion, will rise again tomorrow like a tide called homeward by the moon. Until then, let this soft silence wrap around you, and let the night deepen beyond words. You are safe, you are still, you are resting now. Good night, dear dreamer, may the hush hold you, completely and kindly, until the morning reaches softly through the dark. And so, with the final hush gently falling across this starlit journey, we close the storybook of sleep and its 100 quiet truths. No more facts, no more steps, only stillness remains. The night is yours now, vast and unbroken, waiting to cradle you just as it has cradled life itself across ages untold. Let this closing breath be your own, drawn slowly, held softly, and released into peace. You have wandered deeply into the folds of rest, and the path back need not be walked, for you are already home. Now, let the last echoes of thought fall away. Let sleep take you completely, and from this silence, may dreams bloom onward in secret grace. Good night, endlessly. And here, in the final stillness where breath alone speaks, we complete our descent into the tender dark of knowing and not knowing. 100 truths shared, each like a slow starfall over the surface of sleep, have filled this gentle space where science meets silence and the mystery of rest finds room to unfold. You have listened with heart and mind open, allowing the cadence of wonder to bathe your thoughts in calm. Now, there is nothing more to say. Let the last word flutter away like a leaf let go, and let the great, unbroken hush take its place. The journey is over, but sleep continues uncharted, eternal, yours. Drift now, completely. Sleep well, beloved soul. Good night. And now, with nothing but quiet stretching ahead, we fold this final line like moonlight into the sea. You are the last page and the first breath of sleep's next story. Let dreams arrive not with spectacle, but with ease, cool as fog, soft as wool, timeless as sky. As breath deepens and stars slip behind closed lids, may you feel the deep recognition that sleep has never been far. It waits not in the world's noise, but in the still place within you, where 100 truths have planted their seeds. No more words, no more motion, only this, a hush immense enough to hold the whole world. Sleep now. You are home. Good night, completely. And so, gently and finally, we let the dream dim into its perfect close. A single breath remains, soft as velvet dusk, silent as snowfall over fields. This, the final truth, is not another fact, but a feeling, an embodied knowing that rest is sacred and ever within reach. The stars have whispered, the cells have sung, the myths have circled, and still the hush persists. Let it hold you now. Let everything you are fold into the silence where thoughts dissolve and time forgets its name. Sleep, gentle traveler. Let the last word be no word at all, but a breath, slow and deep. Good night. Endlessly, completely, let go. You are held. You are home. And here it ends, not as a line drawn, but as a circle quietly closing. 100 facts, each a firefly in the velvet dusk of understanding, now slip into silence. You have wandered the corridors of sleep, through rhythms ancient and rhythms newborn, and with each gentle truth, the world has unfolded a little more softly. In this final breath of knowing, let every heartbeat echo with calm, let every breath carry peace. Sleep is not the end of a day, but the continuation of grace. As the last word fades into quiet and the story becomes a shadow in your dreaming mind, know this: rest is your birthright, your sanctuary, your return. Good night, dear soul. You made the journey. Now, let the night carry you slowly, completely, forever held in the hush where sleep begins. And thus, we sleep not just to dream, not just to mend, but to remember our place in the deeper rhythm of being. Let this final truth settle like snow upon your thoughts. Sleep is not the end, but a doorway, a threshold through which all things return to balance, to rest, to self. You have followed us through tides of knowledge and hush, through neurons and lullabies, through science and silence. 100 truths now rest beside you, and there is nothing more to reach for. You are enough. You are still. Drift now into the gentle dark that waits in kindness, into a sleep that welcomes you without question. The night holds you, always. Good night. And now, with just a handful of heartbeats left in this long, whispering drift, we let the light dissolve gently, like mist silken on a still lake. Each of the 100 truths has passed softly through memory, touching the quiet within with wonder, rhythm, and hush. And though your eyes may already be heavy, and your breath slow, let this last breath settle like starlight across calm water. Sleep welcomes you tenderly now, not as visitor, but as kin. Let go, fully and deeply. The journey has ended, the night has begun. Good night, and sleep well, endlessly. And so, the final hush arrives, not with fanfare, but with the soft exhale of all that has been said. 100 truths have found their way into your quiet, each a thread in the tapestry of night. What remains now is only stillness, stretching vast as sky, tender as memory. Sleep is the language the universe speaks when it wants to hold us close. So yield, now, to the breath that slows, to the dark that calms, to the silence that waits. Let sleep envelope you, a sea with no edge, a cradle of stars. The story is told, the light is low, your rest is here. Good night, beloved dreamer. Sleep deeply, sleep peacefully, and sleep well. And now, at the gentle edge of words and breath, we arrive not at an ending, but at a quiet keeping. These 100 truths, like soft footprints across the shore of night, remain behind you now, woven into a tapestry of sleep and wonder. If their rhythm eased your breath, if their hush invited stillness, then the journey was already complete. Sleep, after all, is not a destination, but a homecoming, a return to the vast, starlit quiet within. Let go now, fully and kindly. The world dims, the thoughts soften, and after all is said, only rest remains. Sleep well, beloved soul. You are safe, you are still, you are home. Good night, endlessly. And here, at last, we let go completely. The final echo slips away, leaving behind not silence, but the soft embrace of everything unspoken. You have arrived not at an ending, but into the deep simplicity of being. 100 truths have guided you gently, each a quiet candle flickering toward rest. Now, their glow fades like moonlight behind cloud, and what remains is only peace. Let that peace find you fully, as easily as breath, as wholly as the stars find night. Close your eyes, trust the hush. Let your dreaming begin, or deepen, or simply be. You are where you need to be. Sleep well, dear soul. Good night, endlessly. And so, with every truth now laid gently before you like stones along a moonlit path, we offer this final silence not as an end, but as a blessing. The hours have stretched long and slow, each breath a note in sleep's eternal hymn, and now the story rests. May its echoes linger softly in your thoughts, not clinging but floating light as dreams and kind as dusk. There is nothing more to hold and nothing more to know. Sleep has waited patiently, and now, with arms wide and sky deep, it welcomes you. Let your breath be steady, your heart be light, and your night be tender. Rest, dear traveler. The hush is complete. You are held, you are home, and the rhythm carries on. Good night, deeply and endlessly. And so, we reach the hush beyond all telling, the breath beyond all words. 100 truths have passed like soft winds through ancient trees, each one a step further into the sanctuary of sleep. With the last quiet echo now drifting into your breath, nothing remains but stillness. Let it hold you, let it keep you. This is the lull that begins where language ends, the deep forgetting of clocks, of questions, of the self that must always go on. Tonight, there is no more journey, only rest. Let dreams unfold like galaxies within you, slow and silent. Sleep deeply, dear one. You are gathered in peace, carried by quiet, and watched over by the velvet night. Good night, eternally. And now, as the candle of this long, soft telling flickers its final light, nothing remains but the breath, the rhythm that has carried us through stars and cells, oceans and dreams. 100 truths have now become one steady silence, wrapping around you like dusk upon the world. Sleep is not just a closing of eyes, but a homecoming, a return to the quiet pulse beneath all life. So let go gently and completely. Let your thoughts dissolve like mist over morning hills. Let your body melt into stillness, and let the great hush of night take you softly into its keeping. There are no more words, only sleep, quiet and kind, waiting, always waiting to receive you. Good night.